Welcome, Diecast fans. I'm Tom Spanners Watson.
I'm Frank Guru Gibbs.
And welcome to round 2 of the opening rally event.
Now let's take a look at who's driving this week.
First up, it looks like the same car as last week, but it's not. It's Mini Max this time, driving the 88 Honda Civic, weighing in at 33 grams. Another lightweight short wheelbase. Be interesting to see how it goes.
And another Volvo, this one driven by Olaf the Bold, and it weighs in at 50 grams. And I wonder if he'll be as bold as Magnus was last week.
Next up, we've got Brad Jackson driving the 73 BMW 3.0 CSL, weighing at a very lightweight 34 grams.
And rounding out the field for Group 3 is Jeff Jefferson driving the 87 Ford Sierra Cosworth, also weighing in pretty light at 36 grams.
And helping us keep the track tidy again this week, it's NZ Towing, and Rex McCarr will be the driver.
Now, last week he was flat out like a lizard drinking, and I'm expecting more this week. After all, this is Chaos Canyon and not Paddock paddocks, so fasten your dentures and tighten your jock straps because this is about to get bumpy.
Well, the drivers are in the gate, and starting in lane 1, we've got Mini Max. Next to him is Olaf the Bold. Then we've got Brad Jackson and Jeff Jefferson in lane 4.
She's a mix of short wheelbase and long wheelbase in this one, and I don't know which one's going to benefit the most.
And it looks like Jefferson stalled in the gate. That is not a good start for him. Mini Max out with the lead, but Brad Jackson now moving into the lead, and it looks like we may have lost Olaf the Bold.
I think you mean Olaf the not so bold, mate.
Jackson taking the lead through the forestry section now, into the hill climb, and he flips over. That is unfortunate start. Minimax gets caught in behind, but they will move into the Joker lane and pick up that extra point.
Old Olaf, the not so bold there, parked up right at the start, short of checkpoint 1, as was Jeff Jefferson. And you see, he just stalled right in the gate there. I'm not quite sure what happened. Very unfortunate for him. And then it was shaping up to be a great battle between Mini Max and Brad Jackson, but unfortunately Jackson just faltered under the pressure and flipped himself over going up the hill, trying to give it too many beans.
Whoa, and it looks like Mini Max there also gave it the beans going up the hill, getting sideways.
Jeff and Olaf really need to pull finger in this next race, otherwise it could be all over for them.
Well, it wouldn't be all over just yet. Remember that there is a maximum 13 points up for grabs, so there's still plenty of chances for them yet. The drivers have rotated around. Olaf now taking lane number 1, then next to him Brad Jackson, Jefferson in 3, and Mini Max starts in lane 4.
Hopefully Olaf can handle that jump a bit better this time and actually get away.
It's a pretty tight start, but Olaf with a very slight lead over Brad Jackson. Jackson gets into the side of him, puts him into the wall. That allows Jeff Jefferson to get around the outside. Here comes Mini Max overtaking Olaf as they head down State Highway 1. Jefferson leading them through the forestry section now as he takes the hill climb. How's he going to go? He keeps it together, hits the switcher, takes the Joker lane, and here comes Mini Max storming up behind him, right up onto Jefferson's bumper here. Jefferson trying to clear some space as they head into the final straight, and Jefferson will take the win. Mini Max second.
So Olaf proving that he can in fact be bold there. He just got his nose ahead of Jackson as they hit that first jump, and as they go down the Devil's Staircase, Jackson catches up to him, pushes him into the wall, and I don't think Olaf was very happy about that, because if you keep an eye on them as they come down into the forestry section, you got Jefferson and Mini Max out in the lead, and then Olaf totally brake checks Jackson. That stalls out Jackson's car, and Olaf heads off. Although it was pretty instant karma for him as he got sideways going up the hill and slammed into the side of the track, and he ends up parked in the trees.
Well, Jefferson making the most of that after his shocking first race. Picks up 6 points for the win and 7 for the checkpoints, including the 1 for the Joker lane.
The drivers have rotated around. We've got Jackson now starting in number 1. Next to him is Jefferson, then Mini Max, and finally Olaf in lane 4.
Jefferson proving in that last race that he's definitely got the speed. He's just got to work on his handling. As we get underway, Mini Max with a slight lead. But now it's back to Jefferson and Jackson. Jackson getting stalled out by Jefferson. Good grief, Mini Max has got around the outside down State Highway 1 into the forestry section, opening up a good lead over Jefferson. They just need to keep it clean going up the hill this time, and they do, into the Joker lane, nicely ahead of everybody else. I'm not sure if Jefferson has made it on any further. Mini Max now coming down to the final straight and spins out. Looks like Jackson in behind there. How did he even get going?
I was sure Jackson was fully stalled out after that tangle up with Jefferson, but of course Olaf parked up at the start, and what's he doing in the forestry section?
We'll have to try and find that in the replay. But look at Mini Max there. Had a good lead to start with. Olaf starts to move ahead, and then it was Jefferson out the lead. Jackson trying to push past where there really wasn't space.
But while that battle was happening, Mini Max made the most of it, and then, it's just off camera. Jefferson goes into the forestry section, so 2 guys go in and only 1 comes out.
Definitely sounds like something shady happened in the forestry. But 7 points for Minimax there, passing the 6 checkpoints and 1 for the Joker lane. Brad Jackson only picking up 5. As we rotate around for the final race now, Jeff Jefferson starting in lane number 1. Next to him, Minimax, then Olaf the Bold in 3, and Brad Jackson in 4.
I must say I was really hoping for a better performance out of Olaf the Bold. He's been a little bit Olaf the disappointing.
And I think you've hurt his feelings, mate. He's stalled out again. But what a battle up front between Minimax and Jeff Jefferson. Jefferson just holds on to the lead after a big challenge there from Max. Brad Jackson coming down behind as they head into the forestry section, down to the hill climb. Jefferson leading him up the hill and he's crashed. But luckily he's out of the way. Minimax jumps ahead now. Brad Jackson through, catching right up to Minimax. He's on his tail. Both drivers giving it everything they can as they head into the final straight. Minimax gets spun around. Jackson tries to go around the outside, but he can't quite do it.
Rex from NZ Towing is going to be busy clearing up that mess, and he's going to have to move Olaf out of the way before the next round. Let's just go back through the replay and see what happened. So Minimax and Olaf were actually out of the gate first, but Olaf slowed right down. Minimax pushed ahead, but Jeff Jefferson gave it the beans going down the Devil's Staircase and just pushed ahead. Brad Jackson never gave up, but look at that. He got absolutely yeeted off the side there.
And then there was this great battle up front between these two.
Brad did such a good job here to catch right up on the tail of Minimax. He could smell that win and he did everything in his power. He even tried to knock out the competition and then get around him at the end, but he just couldn't quite pull it off. But a great effort from Brad Jackson overall. And that means with a score of 37, Minimax takes number 1, Brad Jackson number 2, and those 2 drivers will be moving on to the next round.
All right, we need to give Rex some time to clear the track. We'll be right back after this. It's time for Group 4, and first up we've got Big Mike driving another Mini, this time weighing it at a massive 58 grams.
Big Mike must have been carbo loading like crazy to weigh that much. Then we've got Rich Man driving the Nissan Skyline GTR R33. This weighs in at a very lightweight 34 grams.
And another lightweight car is Rebecca Du Bois driving the 2016 Honda Civic Type R, also weighing in at 34 grams.
But you know it'll be quick because VTEC, yo. And then finally, Eisen Schmetterling driving the Porsche 928S Safari, weighing in at 35 grams.
So there's a lot of pressure on Big Mike here. The Minis last time did not do well at all. Can he keep it together this time?
Well, maybe the shed load of extra weight he's got in there will actually offset it and stop it tipping over like the other one did.
All right, it's time to get underway for the final round of the qualifiers. And here we go, Big Mike out with the lead. Rich Man pushing just ahead of him. Big Mike gets up on 2 wheels. Rebecca Du Bois has gone down. And no idea what happened to Eisen Schmetterling. But Rich Man leading into the forestry section now. A big lead over Big Mike. Maybe that extra weight's actually slowing him down. Rich Man goes over. He's flipped and he's parked on the track. This is not going to be pretty. Here comes Big Mike.
Oh, wowzer. He gave him the big kibosh there, crikey. And they almost took out Rex McCarr, who was there cleaning up Jeff Jefferson from the previous race still. But let's go back and see just what happened there. So Big Mike did have the lead out of the gate, but Rich Man here, he just had his foot flat to the floor. Big Mike got a bit loose going down the Devil's Staircase, and Rebecca Du Bois had some problems with that first jump. But look at this huge hit from Mike here.
Do you think Mike didn't see him parked on the track?
Oh, he totally saw him, mate. But he figured he had the weight to muscle him right out of the way and keep going. But unfortunately, it was such a huge hit. Both drivers ended up off the track, but at least they're on their wheels.
And a terrible start from Eisen Schmetterling there, also stalling out before the first checkpoint. He's obviously having some problems with his car.
Yeah, apparently he was having some problems with the wheel locking up or something, and it just stalled him out before he hit the Devil's Drop. And Rebecca Du Bois there flipping over as she went into the Devil's Drop. Let's see if she can do a bit better this time.
So this time we've got Rich Man in lane number 1, Rebecca Du Bois in lane number 2, Eisen Schmetterling in 3, and Big Mike starting in lane number 4. And again, Eisen Schmetterling out quickly, but it's Rebecca Du Bois and Rich Man who are leading the field. Rich Man takes the lead again as they hit State Highway 1. Rebecca Du Bois chasing them down as they head into the forestry section, pulling right up on his bumper, putting the pressure on. Now, can Rich Man keep it together going up the hill? No, he can't. And Rebecca Du Bois just pushes him straight out of the way there. She was not mucking around. She wasn't going to let him stop him like he did to Big Mike. As she runs on down, and she is going to take it all the way and pick up the first win for this group.
I love that she just muscled Rich Man out of the way when he blew it going up the hill. And what are these two doing? They stopped for coffee or something. Let's go back through the replay and see what these two jokers were doing. Well, they just slowed right down. I think Big Mike might have flagged him down because he didn't want to take the drop. Meanwhile, Rich Man was just flooring it going down the Devil's Staircase, and he floored it going up Magnus Mountain, got it wrong, and then Rebecca Du Bois mercilessly just shoving him out of the way. You'll see it on this angle here. He blew it completely, took out our sign, and Rebecca just muscled on through, flipped him out of the way, and then she had the track all to herself, and it was just a nice clean run to the finish, laying down a 37.1600 time.
Well, she's definitely redeemed herself after that terrible start, although Eisen Schmidtling going for the full down trail so far. He's going to have to get some points on the board soon.
So Rebecca's in lane 1, Eisen in lane 2, and then Big Mike and Rich Man in the outside lanes. And I wonder if Big Mike's going to try and flag Rich down like he did to Eisen.
No, the only thing he's going to be flagging down is a tow truck because he just flipped over in the first corner. What is he doing? Rebecca leading ahead of Eisen. Eisen spins around for some reason, and Rich Man is now joining the pack in behind as the three of them head into the forestry section. Rebecca keeps it clean up the hill into the Joker lane nicely. Is anyone else going to join her? I'm not sure, but she cares. She came here to race, and that's exactly what she's doing, as she's going to chalk up win number 2.
That Civic is absolutely on form, and unfortunately Rich actually stayed on his wheels this time, and it was Eisen that held him back, and poor old Mike going over in that first corner. Keep your eye on that red Mini. He just gets up on his side, and that was it. He was his race done, unfortunately. So even with that extra weight, it wasn't good enough to keep him together.
Rich Man a long way behind here, but he did manage to catch up down State Highway 1 as he opened up the skyline, and then Rebecca gets through Tuck and Roll corner easily, and then coming up Magnus Mountain, Eisen Schmidtling goes sideways, and unfortunately Rich Man kept it together that time and gets held up by another driver. But they did pass checkpoint 4, so they will pick up the 4 points, but they didn't go through the Joker lane.
And a much better time there for Rebecca, shaving almost 2 seconds off her previous time, laying down a 35.1380.
After a shaky start in that first race, she has cleaned up in the next 2, and that means she's guaranteed to move on, but it's really who's going to be joining her. With 13 points up for grabs, either of these other drivers could be the one to move through.
But I'm going to take a wild guess and say it won't be Mike or Eisen Schmidtling here based on the history.
Well, both those drivers get an early jump out of the gate. Big Mike with a slight lead as they head into Devil's Staircase. Eisen tries to push through when there's no room and they stall out. And now Rebecca Du Bois pushing hard, trying to get up the outside of Rich Man as they hit the forestry section. She's nudging him from behind, telling him she wants him out of her way. Rich goes up and he absolutely munts it going up the hill. Rebecca doesn't slow down to even check on him. She is wanting that win, even though she doesn't need it.
Rich Man may not be much of a driver, but he is putting on a heck of a spectacle for the Bogans by the Jim's Rooms billboard, and they're loving it. And speaking of loving, these two look like they're having a cuddle there.
An unfortunate finish for those two, but it was unlikely they were going to be moving on. But Rich Man, what a crazy man.
Look, out of the gate, Schmidtling and Big Mike were ahead, and Big Mike picked up the lead as they just hit the Devil's Staircase, but Schmidtling was really stupid there, trying to push through where there was no gap. All he had to do was wait for State Highway 1. But look at this aggressive manoeuvre here from Rebecca Du Bois, and then this phenomenal crash from Rich Man. I've seen less violent acts in GTA.
I can't believe he took out so much foliage, but still managed to get out of Rebecca's way. I guess he learnt early on that she was coming through, ready or not.
Throughout today's racing, he's been pushed, punted, and finally yeeted completely. So he's had a rough day, but he does move through because he's been at least consistent.
Well, he was certainly one of the most entertaining drivers tonight, but the most serious definitely has to be Rebecca Du Bois.
Oh, she put on an absolute masterclass. 3 wins from 4 starts, and even if Rich hadn't crashed out, I think she would have had him in those final straights because she's just that much better.
Well, that's enough for today. Thanks very much for watching. I'm Tom Spanners Watson, he's Frank the Guru Gibbs, and we're going to let you go out with a crash compilation of Rich's best.
Hey Spanners, I think I worked out why NZ Racing was so terrible on the track. I think it was all an insurance scam so they could get the tow truck out and pay themselves money.